So for those of you that have been watching the channel for a long period of time, you've seen a video from me about a year and a half or so ago, maybe 2 years ago, where I talked about being bored of my Samsung Galaxy Note phone. And that's because the iterations were so much smaller and I wanted something new and different. So I went full time with an iPhone. And because everything was so much different, I kind of enjoyed it. But I'm kind of here again, where I'm bored. But it's for different reasons. And to be quite honest, unlike when I was bored with my Samsung Galaxy Note phone, this isn't necessarily going to make me go anywhere. See, before, I was bored and wanted to leave. Now I'm just bored, but I'm kind of okay with it. I know that's a lot to take in. Plus, I'm completely distracted. You see, I just got into GTA RP, if you know what that is. I'm kind of obsessed with it. I'll leave a link to my Twitch channel below if you ever want to see me play that. It's lots of fun. But I'm going to try to keep that out of my mind as I tell you why my iPhone 12 Pro Max is kind of boring. But that's okay. And I'll tell you why. Right after this!
This is, you listening to Travis.
What up, players? Welcome back. And for all you new people, welcome. My name's Travis and I do tech videos every single week and have a blast doing them. If that sounds like fun to you, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Anything I talk about will be in the description below. But for now, let's just get into the video. So I've been an iPhone user now for about 2 years. And over that time, much like anything else, I kind of was learning the operating system as I went along. And there's still some things that I haven't really used on a day-to-day basis. And with iOS 15 about to come out, there's going to be some new stuff that I'll need to learn, just like you would on the Android side of things. But unlike the Android side of things, one of the reasons why I'm actually bored with my iPhone, kind of specifically, are two things. Number one, you only get one flavor of iPhone. It's always by Apple, and it's always the same design across all of them. Like, if you like this phone, that's great. Unlike Android, where you have multiple manufacturers that will take a design and make it different from each other. And kind of iterate on new designs. At the Galaxy Z Flip 3 that just came out, and the Z Fold 3, which just came out, got one of those. There's something different, something interesting, something awesome about them and exciting. It makes phones fun again, like my boy Michael Fisher would say. But in this particular case, it's just a slab, and it always has been a slab, and it will be a slab for a while longer because if they come out with a folding phone, it's going to be a couple years down the road. Having said that, the boredom that I have actually has nothing to do with it actually being a bad phone or my disdain for any of the ways that it works, because when I was bored of my Galaxy Note series of phones, it was because they weren't iterating enough and some of the features that they had didn't work properly for me. I've talked about this before, and of course everyone in the comments has some type of way, they know exactly how to fix the problem, but I'm telling you right now, the issues that I ran into over different phones from different carriers, different software configurations. There were always just these weird little problems that I had, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. But that's just not really been the case with my iPhones. They're so solid, if underwhelming. Sure, they're never doing the cutting edge of almost anything. Wireless charging came well after it was available on Android. The 120 hertz screen is pretty much old news to any Android manufacturer, and it looks like we're going to get that this year. Always on display. All these things that have been on the Android side of things for years are just now making it to the iPhone. So it's almost hard to get excited about any of that stuff, which is why I'm actually bored, because I'm not excited about technology that I've been using for years. However, at this point in my life, the only thing I really care about is something to work that I can rely on that does a job well. And Apple is super good at that. So even if I am bored, I at least can rely on my iPhone for some very important things, including for this channel. You see, for the better part of the last year, I've actually been shooting any B-roll on my channel with an iPhone, whether it be the 11 Pro Max I had before or now the 12 Pro Max. And no one's ever said anything. No one's ever said, hey, that looks like it's an iPhone. And as a matter of fact, my friend Michael Fisher, Mr. Mobile himself, does the same thing because you can actually rely on the cameras on this thing. They're great with some exceptions like the lens flare problem that I talked about before, but as long as you're not shooting against the sun, the quality of the camera on this thing is really phenomenal, including for semi-professional work like this channel. And while that could definitely be the case on this current generation Samsung phones, previously to this, I just never was really happy with the quality I was getting out of my phones. They were good in and of themselves, but I never could put them next to any of the videos I was doing at the time. At least I didn't think that it looked the same, but this just does. Now, of course, now if I went with a Samsung phone, I definitely wouldn't say that anymore. But the thing is, things like AirDrop to my iPad, which is where I already edit everything for this channel, you can't do that with a Samsung phone. There's just too many things you have to do. And because I use the iPad to edit all my videos on this channel, and because it's super powerful, And like I talked about in one of these previous videos where the now render speed of the iPad Pro is incredible. Make sure you check out that video. I'll leave a link in the description below. The power of the ecosystem, the way that it keeps you in, which I've talked about before, makes it very difficult to ever truly leave. So the Z Fold 3 or any of the phones that come out from Samsung may be a secondary phone for me. But for me, when I look at the Z Fold 3, it's so expensive, it has to be the primary phone, and it's just not going to be. I have found that so many people in my friend circles have iPhones that all of the features in the ecosystem just work great. And with some of the new features in iOS 15 that I will definitely use, like some of the new features for FaceTime, I just can't leave. Now, if I saw more green bubbles on my iMessage, I might actually be able to go back. But between that and the fact that it works perfectly with my iPad, I can't go anywhere, no matter how bored I am. And let me tell you, the iPhone 13 does not excite me in any way. At all. Another thing that I wish Apple would do is something like DeX, which Samsung has done. You can take your phone and make it into a desktop computer. Like, that is so brilliant. And it's not like Apple can't do that. They already have the iPad OS, which is pretty much iOS. Why not make it so that you plug in your iPhone and basically have a desktop? Because they don't have to. Because the people that buy Apple products are going to buy it even without that. Which still bores me. I'm telling you, like, there's so many cool things outside of Apple. And most of you are going to say again, well, why don't you just get something other than an iPhone? And I'll just come back to it time and time again. I can rely on my iPhone. I have a ton of people that have iPhones, and all the features that I use on this thing on a daily basis can't be replicated on an Android phone. I wish they could. I wish they could. Instead of downloading some kind of app that is going to send it to the internet and back down before I can just airdrop it. Or the iMessage. And I love when people tell me to download a third-party app, which none of my friends use to get the same functionality as iMessage. Yes, I understand. I'm in America where more iPhones are sold probably than anywhere else, regardless of the fact that the iPhone is still the #1 selling phone in the world. There are just a lot more people here in America that use an iPhone than Android. There's tons of people in my comments that live elsewhere that really, they have never used an iPhone and may never use an iPhone because they have much better priced products where they live, and Android works perfectly. And I totally get that. And with Android, you get so many cool options. I just love all the options and features that these different manufacturers come out with because they can challenge each other for that top Android spot where Apple is just the only one. But sometimes being boring is all right. If you get everything else right, then I can kind of forgive you for it. And that's kind of what Apple has done. They fit themselves into my life in a way that I can't lodge them out. I wish I could, but it's darn good. And that's what really counts. And when it comes down to it, my time is money. Whether it be for this channel or my life, I have to rely on my hardware. And that's just not always been the case with my Samsung phones, for whatever reason. And before you go in the comment section talking about how I'm loving on Apple and hating on Samsung, it's totally not the case. I have a Fold 3, bought a Fold 3. Did you buy a Fold 3? I bought all the monies with a Fold 3. I'm super excited for it. I'm actually not bored of that. So go figure. I mean, to be honest, the foldables from Samsung to me are much more exciting and much more interesting. But again, they can't be my primary phone. Perhaps for you, they can be. Of course, leave me a comment below and tell me how much better Samsung phones are than iPhones. You're probably already doing it anyway. But for anyone who uses an iPhone, they know the real deal. They can rely on it, and it does quality work. Whether it be messaging someone, sending pictures, videos in full quality, what they've been doing for many years before Android was ever able to do it. All the different features that iOS continues to add, and some of the features that really, to be honest, Android should have had all this time. A really good quality AirDrop competitor should have been out years ago. Same thing with iMessage, and yeah, I know some people use WhatsApp, but a lot of people don't. There's just so many things about iOS that Android should have done many years ago and haven't. And as a matter of fact, one of my biggest complaints, still to this day, has not been resolved by Google. And I know they're trying, but they still haven't resolved it. And that is updates. Apple trashes Google when it comes to the Android ecosystem versus the Apple ecosystem and updating all of their devices. Everything gets an update the same freaking day. The phone, the watch, everything. No matter who your carrier is, you get an update. And this is one of the things that's always been a downfall of Android. I wish they would fix this. Not only do you have to wait for Google to come out with the update, then you have to make sure that Samsung or LG or whoever goes through their version and puts their little stank on the top of it. And then you got to wait for your carrier. It takes forever. Sometimes you get the update for the last operating system when the next operating system is coming out. It's absolutely ridiculous. With iOS, you get it day one. Now, of course, if you're looking at a Pixel, Okay, cool. You get it the same day. But I mean, how many people are buying Pixels? I know that a lot of people are excited about the Pixel 6, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm actually kind of interested. But let's be honest, not many people are buying the Pixel. I love when people point out that it was one of the top selling phones on Amazon, not realizing that Amazon doesn't sell that many phones. Let's be real. You will not find a Pixel phone in the top 10 sales of any year. Period. End of story. But you will always find an iPhone. Because they're so dominant, they don't actually have to do anything innovative. They don't have to push the edge or push the limit of their phones. They actually don't. They do find great features, refine them, wait until the technology is proven, and then come out with a product, which makes me excited for a foldable iPhone. But by that point, you're almost bored of it. At least I am. Obviously not their fan base. I mean, they're going to buy whatever Apple wants to put out there. Let's just look at the pricing of everything. You can get a cable for like $25. Those headphones are $550. When they came out there, $550 player. That's a lot of money. Apple is off the charts with charging money on things. And that's another thing that kind of bores me about them. Give me a great deal on almost everything. Every once in a while, they'll come out with something at a good price. Every once in a while. But for the most part, you know you paying that Apple tax, baby, and I'm kind of bored of that too. So while I'm definitely bored of being in the Apple ecosystem because it's not overly exciting anymore, I can absolutely rely on it. I am not going anywhere, and I'm kind of happy with it. See, you can be happy with something and bored at the same time. Some of you married people know what I'm talking about. But what about you? Are you bored of your iPhone or your ecosystem or anything like that? Tell me in the comments below and let me know, are you going to buy the next iPhone, or are you going to buy a new Samsung or LG or whatever the hell else you want to buy for your next smartphone? And I'll see you guys next time. Peace and love.